Hello, welcome. I wanted to just come on really quick and talk about this energy system regulation. If you've been seeing me post on social media, I've been calling for some help, some guinea pigs, so to speak, to help me dive more deeply into my healing. And I'm just honing in on some specific areas of things and really grounding into the work that is aligned with my highest self and just my own kind of magic and healing abilities. So I want to give a quick rundown on what this looks like and what this actually is. So if you have followed me, if you've been working with me, you know that I offer energy system regulation. And with those sessions, I tap into things like inner child stuff, density. We can get into like different types of timeline work, physical symptoms, depression, anxiety, a whole bunch of different things. But what I've been doing this past week is I have been honing in more specifically onto and into the endocrine system. So the endocrine system is all about hormones, glands, all of those different things. And I also work I wouldn't even say I'd also work very closely with, but I also embody the energy of animals. So this sounds kind of weird and it sounds kind of, maybe doesn't really make sense, but let me explain. So the energy, the vibration of animals, the way that they function is very regulated. So in other words, it's very balanced. It's very cyclical, right? They have their cycles and their rhythms that they exist in. They are very instinctual and intuitive, and all of that adds up to regulation. Their bodies, their energy systems are very regulated, okay? They just run smoothly for the most part. Obviously, things happen where, I do healing work on animals as well, and more so specifically pets, and things where the animals are around humans and they're picking up on our vibes. But for the most part, they're very balanced. They're very grounded within their own energy and their own energy systems, et cetera, et cetera. So how I do this work is I tap into that energy. I harness that energy within myself, and then I tap into you and your energy. I feel around and I see what's going on, what needs to be addressed, and then I bring that energy forth, that regulated energy, right? The vibration, that balanced, natural, grounded energy. And it's kind of like I infuse it into you, and that regulates whatever's going on within you. So that brings balance, that brings healing for you. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm kind of like almost like a translator. So, I'm not translating necessarily, but it's kind of that type of thing where there's this one thing and I'm in the middle, and then I relay that onto you. So I've done a few sessions, kind of practice sessions so far. They've been amazing. And as I said, I am heading more into work with the hormone aspect of things and endocrines and glands and all of this. And it's been really interesting. So let me give you an example of what came up in a session a few days ago. So I was tapping into my client and her thyroid came up. Okay, so the thyroid is here kind of in the throat area. And it presented as density, which is like heavy stuck energy, okay? And density for me, when I'm working with that, it shows up as specific like images or kind of pictures in my head so that I can explain in human words what's going on energetically, okay? So her thyroid came up. And it came up as this image or this kind of little picture of a butterfly inside of a glass jar, and the thyroid is kind of the shape of a butterfly, so it's not surprising that this came up like this, inside of a glass jar trying to escape. And so it's panicked and it's frantic and it's trying to get out of this jar, but it's like banging into the sides of the jar, and the jar's clear so it can see what's out there. And you know, it was just this very like overactive and overwhelmed energy. And so how this translated kind of for her from the energetic standpoint into the physical is that her thyroid was like in the energetic realm, or you know, in the non-physical, it had been so overactive for so long and just trying to keep up, and it couldn't keep up, and so it was panicking, it was very frantic. And so what happens is that energetic stuff trickles down into the physical. Sometimes it manifests as what's showing up energetically, sometimes it doesn't. So in this case, her thyroid was what I would not that I don't ever diagnose, but the physical or the human word for it would be hyperthyroidism. That was on the energetic side of things. But here in the physical, what was happening was that because it was so hyper energetically, by the time that trickled into the physical, the thyroid was very sluggish, very slow, and just not able to keep up, not able to do its job properly. So hypothyroidism. And I even was talking about those words in her session. And so I regulated that for her. We did all the magic, all the energy stuff to shift that to, you know, the best of my abilities. And she messaged me yesterday and she said, "You nailed it." She had recently gone to the doctor and she was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, or like lazy thyroid is what she said. So I love hearing that kind of feedback, because as I'm practicing this, I'm really, even though I do have kind of intentions of where kind of what I'm trying to work with, I really open up and just go with the flow. I don't have any expectations. So I loved hearing that feedback, that exactly what I was talking about in her session, she had actually recently been diagnosed with. So that gives you an example of what some of this might look like. And yeah, hopefully that answers any questions you might have. Right now, so it's currently, we're in November, so right now, it won't be for like the foreseeable future, but for a little while, I'm offering these sessions on a sliding scale of $30 to $70. So what that looks like is you pay anything you want in between that price range, or anything you can afford. You can book multiple sessions, up to 4 sessions. How that pricing works is you would choose what you would pay for one session and then just multiply that by however many sessions you want. So that's what's happening currently. So if you're watching this in the future, my pricing might be fixed by then. If I'm referring you to this video just to give you kind of the rundown of how these sessions work, just be aware that the pricing might not be what I'm saying it is right now, but for right now, that's what it is. So your sessions come recorded as an audio file. We don't book a time. What happens is once you send payment and I receive that, I schedule you in for a specific day. I let you know what day I'll be doing your session, and then I record the session for you, send it to you, you listen to it at your own convenience. So it's very flexible that way. And I think that's it. So I have really been loving this work. It has actually been energetically way more intense than any work I've ever done before. And what's actually really interesting as well is that the sessions have generally been a little bit shorter. So, you know, sessions that I was doing before, and I know these are kind of just smaller practice sessions, so that might be playing a factor as well with that. But, you know, sessions usually run like my regular sessions, anywhere from like 30 minutes, usually around the 30-minute mark. These are closer to like 15 to 20 minutes. So more intense energy, more intense healing and shifting, but less time. And I'm just really trying to go with the flow with that, because sometimes I get in my head and I'm like, okay, in order for people to have big shifts, it needs to be a really long session, long detail, need to go into all of this, like crazy intense stuff. And so that's where I'm kind of trying to let go as well. So I will leave it at that. Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, by all means, you can reach out and let me know. And if not, I hope to see you booking in for a session. So take care. Mwah. Love you.